Hello and welcome to Andy's Reviews. My final review on today is going to be the Twilight saga, or the Twiglet saga as I like to call it, New Moon. So obviously I'm guessing you've seen Twilight, so you have the premise being that these are based on the series of books by Stephanie Meyer, who herself is a Mormon and tends to like to place Mormon values upon the interpretation of the vampire story. No! Okay, let's just stop. All of this rubbish about the Twilight is it's a vehicle to encourage kids to not have sex and to... No, that's rubbish, okay? Twilight is a remarkably good, fun, melodramatic study of the just kind of wave of emotion that comes over you the first time you fall in love. And that's true. Or, if you're lucky enough, you'll probably still have that to this day. So it's just a fantastic love story that's slightly silly, but it's good fun. And it's less silly than ridiculously bad takes on the vampire myth, like True Blood. I do dislike that series immensely. It's absolutely grotesquely bad, and I can't believe that it's so renowned as it is. Okay, so the thing I like about Twilight is the fact that it understands the context and the environments that are worked in. So the mythology is well structured, more so in the books than in the movies. But that's the one thing I would say I don't like about the films, is they could have actually added another hour on to New Moon. Sorry, first one to New Moon, and you would have got more out of it, because it would have been a longer film, and the book is quite long itself. So the reason I've only read the first two Twilight books, but the thing that stood out to me about the second book was it totally captured the feeling and the emotional pain that a person goes through when you lose somebody that you care really, that you love so much. And I think that's well illustrated by the book. It's fantastic because you're there with Bella Swan. You're there thinking, oh my god, I've been through exactly the same thing. And it's not something that can be remedied. It's something that you just have to let your psyche and your heart go through, and you will come out the other side. But it's quite a dangerous emotional time, one that some people may be suicidal, some may cause them to have a nervous breakdown. It's a tough, difficult time for a person who's lost somebody that they loved. So I love the way that's worked through in the books, that kind of isolation, pain that Bella goes through. In terms of the movie, it's shortened down a lot, but the way that Kristen Stewart goes through it is completely believable and absolutely fantastic. So obviously you have the wolf pack coming in to New Moon. You have Edward going off to leave Bella. And then you have the introduction of the Volturi. But you'll know all of this because anyone who's bothered to type this in on YouTube knows Twilight like the back of their hand. So I'm not going to bother going into the ins and outs of the story. But contextually, I do like Twilight. I know people say that the movies are more like TV films. The acting's poor, the direction isn't particularly good. And yes, maybe that's true to an extent, but they're fantastic movies. And the fact is, the best thing about Twilight is that I remember when I was young, I went to see David Fincher's Panic Room with Jodie Foster, and I thought, there was a young girl in that, and I thought, no, you really performed well. And then now I'm sitting here 10 years later, and now she's a megastar in terms of Kristen Stewart. So Kristen Stewart, I think, all of the fan girls and boys tend to get all cut up about, ooh, Pattinson, he's so gorgeous, I love him. I don't think the guy's a very good actor, and I think he will choose roles that kind of play on that kind of hunk mentality, whereas Kristen Stewart is a multifaceted, wonderful actress who brings technicolor to any role that she'll do. You'll see that in the up-and-coming Runaways film, and you'll see it in Adventureland, and to be fair, she's the reason why these films work. She's a fantastically well-cast, well-thought-out individual. I think in interviews that I've seen, fantastic views, and she knows how to act. So for me, Kristen Stewart's the best thing about Twilight, while also being my perfect vision of beauty. But that's not the point. She is a good actor, so superb. Without her, I think these films would be weak, but they're not. They're a good portrayal of the emotion of love without the physical lust part in there, which perhaps is something that people might think should be involved in a vampire story. But if you go back to the original, if you go back to Bram Stoker, you know, that kind of Batman Begins type thing of like going back to the beginning. Oh, that's what it was based on. You see, Dracula isn't really a horror story. No horror stories are actually horror stories. They're vehicles to portray different things about human emotion, society, and themes. So a horror film's never really a horror film, and perhaps a vampire story is never actually a vampire story, as shown by Anne Rice previously, and atrociously shown to an extent in the truly bad Hank, there's a vampire in my lawn, goddammit. True Blood. So yes, love Twilight, but if you want a better vampire film, go and rent or buy Let the Right One In, which is totally different from Twilight, but it's a fantastically well thought out, beautifully made, beautifully shot, emotional, scary, and thought-provoking film, which is again about love, but uses the vampire lore as the context for that. But do not get me wrong, Twilight, one of my favourite movies I've seen over the past 12 months. Love the use of music from Thom Yorke, and you've got some Muse in there, and you've got some Likey Lee in there. Superb, beautifully made, well written, and to be honest, I like the way it was shot. I love these films. So I haven't watched this yet because it only came yesterday. But I'm reviewing this on, what is it, Saturday the 20th. So unlucky for all you people who have to go out at midnight on Sunday to get your copy, or on Monday morning. I've had mine for 2 days. And I intend to watch this again tonight, so I'm quite excited. So yes, that's my Twilight review. Have a lovely weekend, and I'm gonna go. Bye!